This episode is brought to you by Wanda C. Williams. Aloha, Wanda here. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Soul Speak. Enjoy. Too many mamas feel alone, isolated, or are suffering in silence. They exert so much energy in being everything and everyone for their family. Frequently neglecting their own needs, dreams, and desires, they put taking care of themselves last on the to-do list. They can often be their own worst critic and have the scars of perfectionism, doubt, and shame to prove it. Without the support and someone helping them navigate the highs and lows of motherhood while building a business, judgment starts to creep in. Self-expectations distort, and you stop filling yourself up and instead give and do more. Motherhood and building a thriving business is a dream and goal for many. Whether you birth children of your own, adopt, or are naturally nurturing those within your community. Mama entrepreneurs who are supported and held accountable experience more joy and enjoy the fruits of motherhood while building the business of their dreams. They have control of their experiences, and they are so full, they are overflowing with enough to give. Since starting Wanda C. Williams, I have made it my mission to help mama entrepreneurs have a fully aligned business and life overflowing with radiant, abundant joy. And that is why I've created the Joyful Sage Club. The Joyful Sage Club is dedicated to help you conquer the emotional roller coaster of parenting teen to adult children while building a business. Help avoid the common mistakes, stop being what others expect you to be, and help you connect with your inner being and higher self. Taking the words of the late beautiful soul Maya Angelou, I want to be proud when I see you coming. I wish for you to be so full you are overflowing. I am so excited to have you here, Colleen, for another episode of Soul Conversations, Soul Speak Conversations, connecting us to who we truly are. So I would love to start with you telling us a little bit about yourself. Share your name, how many kids or kid do you have, and where are you from? And if you were to pick one of the seven dwarfs to best describe yourself, which one would you be? And I can share the list of the seven dwarfs. Bashful, dopey, grumpy, happy, sleepy, or sneezy.
You're good, because I always leave one out. Well, I'm Colleen, and I'm 54, and I live in New Jersey, and I have a 19-year-old daughter, Janet, that I absolutely adore. And we also live with my mom and our dog, Chocolate.
What was your dog's name?
Chocolate.
Chocolate. Oh, I love it. All right. So sweet. And so, which dwarf would you be? Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've been every single one of them, but the one right now that I'm identifying with is Doc. He wanted to know everything, and maybe in some ways be in a little bit of control, but I think he must have been a curious dwarf.
Yeah.
In order to be called Doc. And even though he may not have always had all the answers, I think he tried to have them.
Okay. I like it. I like it. I tend to be drawn to Doc just because I don't know what he is. He's more than just the name, right?
Right, exactly.
I love it. I love it. So let's
Something
get on
about
to
that
some
resume.
juicy stuff, shall we, Colleen? What would you say is your greatest mama superpower?
I'm going to say it's my persistence, my ability to just not give up as difficult as circumstances can become. I want my daughter to see that I'm persistent and that I'll just keep plowing through until I come up with the solution.
Beautiful.
And Yeah, so I think persistence.
Okay. And now I'm seeing a little doc in you. So persistence. And I would venture to say, right, that in addition to her being able to witness that you're being persistent, right, that you are always going to do whatever it takes, figure it out, right, in order to support and help her. But in turn, you're showing her how she can also apply that in her own life.
Yes, absolutely. To me too. Um, just setting an example for my daughter, but I had to step into that in being persistent. Sometimes, I mean, years ago it was a different story, but with my daughter, there was just this mama bear that had to just attack everything
Yeah.
in a positive way and
I
just
love
make it
that
work.
term of endearment, mama bear. So own it. Um, and I'm curious. You mentioned you weren't necessarily persistent to begin with. So what are some of the things that allowed you to step into being persistent?
I had struggled with depression since childhood, and I think a lot of times I wanted things to work, but I was exhausted. I was
Mm.
tired, and I just wanted to be more as a mother. I wanted to find answers to things, whereas in the past I would have just said, "You know what? This isn't important. I'm just gonna let it go.
So the
I'm
message
just
I'm
gonna let it."
hearing there, Colleen, which is so incredibly powerful to the mothers that are listening, that go through so many different emotions, mental, emotion, right? We go through all these things, that there is an ability within us where we can step into this desire of wanting more, to be more, to
Yes,
provide more.
absolutely.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. What a special mom. And Janet is so lucky.
Yeah, she tells me that actually now. So I'm like,
Good.
oh, okay.
I love it. Yes, we as moms should get the recognition we deserve. So now I just want to sort of step back in time a little bit, and I would love to hear, how was your life before you had Janet? How then did your life change as you were raising Janet? And then now, as she is, growing older and starting to live her own life, how is life?
Or Janet, um, my life to me at that time, with so many limiting beliefs, I had no purpose.
Hmm.
I didn't expect that I would live a long life. I thought, well, by the time I'm 40, if I don't have it together or some kind of path, I'll just get a motorcycle, learn how to drive a motorcycle and just go cross country and just like find little jobs and that would be it. Just not be connected to anything. I never expected to have children. I just didn't feel like I could be somebody's mom. Like I would never be able to fulfill that role.
So before having Janet, your perspective on your worth, what you were capable of, was really, really narrow and small.
Oh, it was incredibly small.
Okay. And so then along comes Janet.
Oh yeah, surprise! I said, Lord, okay, this is this is what's happening.
Right?
I'm having a baby, and I'm a mom already. From the moment I found out that I was pregnant, I was a mom,
Okay.
and it was terrifying, and it was also I just had this desire to change. I
Okay.
wanted more in life, and even though my limiting beliefs were still very, very strong at that time, um, Janet gave me a glimpse of hope. into something better for my life. And I had to get better. I had to change my beliefs, because what kind of mom would I be to this child? And I wanted to be able to nurture her and have conversations with her that I didn't have with my mom growing up. And our house is small, so and I raised Janet by myself. And our house is small, so we had to share a room with each other. And we shared a room until she was 11 years old.
Wow.
Which, it obviously is not the norm. And but every single night she'd say, "Mommy, what do you want to talk about tonight?" And even though it would have been nice to have my own space and for her to have her own space, that's something I'll always cherish. It's something really special. And I don't know. I saw Janet grow, but Janet also kind of raised me, I think.
It sounds like she gave you a lot of hope and purpose in your
Yes.
life,
Yes,
right?
she did. Yes, she did.
In addition to giving you sort of the confidence, maybe that might not necessarily be the right word, but sort of the conviction, the desire
Yes,
to do
exactly.
things that would better her life and then your life.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I tell her that too. I tell her, Janet, when you came into my life, everything was going to change. I didn't know how long it would take, but everything was going to change, because I wanted to be that person that I was so afraid of being. And I wanted to be that person so she could see that.
Oh, wow. I love that last line you just said, that you wanted so desperately to be that person that you wanted to be. And her coming into your life gave you that hope that
It
you
did.
could,
It
that
did.
you can, and that you are.
Right.
Now that she's starting to grow up, is she
Um,
still in the house or has she moved?
No, she's basically out of the house.
Okay.
I mean, she'll stop home to do laundry, to take some food.
The revolving restaurant. Yes, I
Can
know.
I take this? Are you going to eat this? Oh my God. Here's a bag. Take whatever you want. So she stays with her boyfriend. I encourage her to, hey, why don't you stay home a couple nights a week? Spend some time with your mom. And it's
Right.
always good to have space in a relationship, especially when you're young. And she'll say, okay, mom. And then, all right, mom, could you drive me to his house? Okay. So
Okay.
it's lonely without her.
Mm,
I'm thinking, oh, am I supposed to enjoy this? Am I supposed to exhale and be okay with her not always being here with me? I mean, it's still a question, because I can hear the tone of my voice. It's
right,
still a
right.
question, not answered.
And so I want to ask, is it okay for you to exhale? Is it okay for you to start this new adventure?
It has to be okay. It has to be okay. And for me, it's about letting go of maybe some guilt that I had from when Janet was little and having been depressed so much and her having to deal with that. Um, I feel like I still owe her more, and she needs to be here with me. But I also know that I can still give her all that, even
Yes,
with
you
her not
can.
being in the house with me. It's not an ending to our story, like, oh no, this
Right.
part's over,
Oh,
she'll
it sometimes feels like
every
that, right?
6 months.
I love that you sort of answered your question with a question,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
but in a way that was definitive.
Right.
that your persistence is still there, right? That you are
It is.
going to continue, you're going to succeed.
Right.
Yeah. It's important to recognize. I mean, we don't, there's the guilt, there's the all that stuff that we sort of carry around. But in order to help with that transition, or all the many transitions, right? All the transitions. I remember for me, one of the first ones was when he went to first grade, right? And he had to
Oh,
take me around the corner. Or take me out of the classroom around the corner to kiss me goodbye. I was like, what? What's happening here? Right?
yeah.
And then gradually there were other transitions, but it's also recognizing, well, what is the question? How can I answer it? How can I keep moving forward? How can I show up the best way that I can in this moment? And it sounds like you are doing that all the time, all along the way.
There were times I felt kind of stuck, like I wanted time to stand still
Mm-hmm.
so I could be the perfect mom. And I realized that I just had to let that go because I wasn't going to grow as my own woman and as a mother. So it was letting go of wanting to freeze time.
Wanting to freeze time, letting go of wanting to be this perfect mother.
Right.
Oh, so much there. So, would you say you struggled with empty nest syndrome?
Yeah, right now, yeah, I'm still in that struggling phase. I still desperately want her to come home. Of course, my fridge is pretty much full. There aren't dishes in the sink. The washer and dryer doesn't have clothes sitting in it for 3 days.
Yes, there are some benefits, right, when they
Yes,
leave the nest.
there's definitely benefits, but
Things are where you put it.
yeah, it's like, oh, I'm not looking for the kitchen scissors because she's using them for crafts up in her room.
Right, right. I used to always joke, oh my God, I have money in my wallet.
Well, now with Cash App and Venmo,
Oh,
I don't even have that. Mom, can you send me some money?
yeah, yeah. Those are, see, they always need us, whether they're
Yeah.
home or not, they always do. Did you want to be when you grew up?
Well, when I was younger, I wanted to be a detective
Ooh,
like Nancy Drew. I read every single one of those books. I wanted to be a detective and I wanted to be a healer. So, I mean, now at this age, when I think about that, it's very interesting to me how those two kind of marry up with each other. Always seeking the answers
yeah,
and digging deeper, being a detective.
right.
And I didn't realize at the time that that's really what was in me. You know, my childlike self wanted to be Nancy Drew.
Right.
Um, but as I grew older, I knew that was about curiosity. It was about um, being more curious about who I am and who I could be. And being a healer, I knew I wanted to help people. I always knew that, but I didn't know that that was a career, that it could be a profession. I had no idea until I saw Iyanla Van Zant on TV
Mm,
years ago. And they had women who were in a house and needed to be coached and through some heavy stuff in their life. And I was just so drawn to Iyanla.
yeah.
And I said, oh my gosh, wait a minute. I can actually do that as a career? Like, that is amazing. And that was probably, oh no, I think 20 years ago that TV show was on.
Ooh, has it been that long? Please say no. That was
I,
only just a few years ago. We're not.
I think it was close to
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Wow.
Close
Okay.
to 20
Okay.
years
And I, no, since I know you, and
ago.
I would say the person that you wanted to be when you grow up, you absolutely are. Because
Right.
you do bring curiosity in everything that you do. You bring it
Yes.
with yourself, you bring it with people that you meet and, strangers on the street.
All the
And
time.
you heal, you help support, you help people, you know, you bring in that curiosity to find out what is stopping or struggling or someone's struggling with, and then you bring in that magic to heal that wound, that hurt, that pain.
Right.
So I find that absolutely fascinating. That I would say that you have become what your childhood dream of being when you grew up. You are.
Yeah. Yes.
It's amazing.
It is amazing. It is amazing. And, as I was thinking about this interview today, this talk that we're having, um, and thought about detective and healer, it was like an aha moment for me because I never put them together.
Mm.
Um, and today I did. Today I thought about the deep meaning of looking for answers and wanting to heal. And it's a
Mm.
process. And like you said, I love meeting people. My job, I had the opportunity to work nights and provide customer service on a transportation project. So I was with the public for several hours at night, and people were frustrated about getting to their destination, and so many wonderful conversations grew from that position, that customer service position. And I know that there's friendships that I've made. And sometimes now that the train is running through those stations now and I'm not needed out there, I'll still drive by hoping to see somebody that I made a connection with.
I'm curious, what challenges, if any, did you have balancing your personal and your professional goals when you were raising Janet?
Ooh, that's a rough one. Wow, my personal goal, uh, figuring out who I was. That was my personal goal. It was to be happy. It was to believe in myself. It was to know that even when things were tough, I would be okay. And I struggled with that. I struggled with moving to that place. I felt so overwhelmed sometimes as a mom, and Janet not having her dad. Um, I felt like I had to give her so much more,
Mm.
but then I also had to realize I couldn't do that. I'm only me. I'm one person. I'm
Mm.
mom, and that was going to be enough. That was going to be enough as my personal goal um, to accept myself. That's what I needed, self acceptance. That was my personal goal.
Okay. And were there other goals that either you may have put on hold, whether it was professionally or, other things?
Well, professionally, yeah, I knew I wanted more. I knew I wanted to. I loved my job. When I went in, it was important to me to do well, to be a great support for the management team.
Mhm.
Um, and that's what I was. I was very supportive, and um, I felt like I did a good job. But it was a job. I needed something that really fed my soul.
Mhm.
And as much as I liked that job, which I'm still at, by the way, I'm a couple months short of 20 years with the company. Um, I needed something to feed my soul. a, a career. I don't even like to use the word profession or career because,
Calling.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I
And so
like that.
did you pursue your calling when Janet was still at home, or did you do that after she left?
No, I started while she was still home.
Okay.
And I had a friend, Stephanie, who she was actually, Janet had some in home therapy due to anxiety and depression issues and acting out then as a teenager. And Stephanie was Janet's behavioral assistant.
Okay.
And I guess Stephanie she would kind of corner me. Like, well, what do you want? What do you want? And I'd say, oh gosh, oh, don't do this. I can't allow myself to go there. I can't because it's too much. I can't, you know what? It's not time for me. It's not time for me. And she said, well, if you could do something that you really wanted, what would it be? And I said, I'd love to be a life coach. And then I told her too how Iyanla
Mhm.
was my inspiration. And she said, okay. She said, well, I'm going to work on a few things. And I said, oh boy, what does that mean? So she calls me a couple days later and she said, okay, I found a school, Health Coach Institute. And do you mind if I sign up with you and we could do this together? Okay.
Oh, what a blessing. What a
Yeah,
blessing
and I
Stephanie
wanted to
is.
say no. No, you know what? No, let me wait a little longer. Let me. No, Stephanie's like, okay, so we're signing up, and class is going to start in May. And I said, okay, okay,
It's amazing because the three of us met months later in Dallas,
right,
Texas.
right,
And I still, when I think of that moment, I get chills because I was there with my husband and we were supposed to be doing some exercise and Stephanie was behind me. And I was like, oh my God, she's by herself. She's not doing the exercises with anybody. I go, what should I do? And it took me a few tries to actually get her attention. She was so like deep in thought
right,
that it took me a second, and you had stepped out of the room. And so then we worked on the exercise. But I have to tell you, that moment is forever etched in my memory of one of those sort of milestone moments in your life where you're like, yes, you were there for a reason,
right.
right? That all of
Oh,
these
definitely.
experiences align. So I'm thankful to Stephanie for asking you that question, right? And I'm curious because, you know, as moms, right, I sort of heard you mention it, but, oh, well, it's not time for me,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And, you know, taking care of your daughter, taking care of her by yourself. Was it more often than not that you said, oh, it's not my time? Oh, I can wait.
Well, I'm going to tell you what it's not my time was really about. It was about fear.
Mm,
If it wasn't my time, then I didn't have to step out of my limiting beliefs. I could just stay there. I could just stay there and just be who I was
right.
and not hope for anything more from myself. So it's not my time was this maybe a cop out.
Mm. Oh
Um,
my gosh, Colleen, you just ripped layers and layers of limiting beliefs and went right to the core. I mean, yeah, fear. I for one can say there are many things that I held back from doing with the excuse saying, oh, well, you know, he's still in grade school or he's still in high school and oh, we got to do these things. But truly behind all of those excuses was fear of me
yes.
stepping outside of my comfort zone. Wow.
Right.
Okay. So what would you say are, I don't know, a few tips that you do now when you recognize that fear is stepping in the way from you moving towards something that you desire?
I talk to it.
Ooh,
I talk to the fear.
I love that.
Okay. You're obviously trying to serve, there's a positive intention
Mm-hmm.
with the fear. But then I tell fear, you know, we hung out together for too long. You're like a bad relationship,
Oh,
and I need to let you go.
right.
I mean, I know I'm going to see you in passing. You're going to be out there. I can't avoid bumping into you, but we're not going to have a relationship anymore. Not like that. We'll be acquaintances.
Oh my gosh, that I'm like getting this visual, right? And that is so powerful to be able to say, we're not going to be in a relationship like that anymore. I'll see you in passing. I'll say hello because I know,
Right.
right? I'll bump into you again, but I'm choosing to let you go. I'm
Yes.
choosing to step forward anyway. Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. Thank you. Now I want to get into something a little juicy. It's one of my favorite questions. It's sort of my meandering way getting down to the nitty gritty. Is who would you say you are, and what keeps you connected to your sense of self?
Yeah, I thought about a lot about that. When you say who you are, is the description ever really right? I don't know. I'm a survivor and a thriver.
Mm,
I've
all right.
I've been a survivor my entire life. I see that now that I overcame so many things in my life, and I'm a thriver, and I'm just gonna keep going.
In answer to your question, is there ever really a right answer? And I would say yes and no, but
Mhm.
yours was spot on, right? You are a survivor and a thriver.
Yeah,
Um, I'm persistence, right? You're persistent. You are successful because you persist. You talk back and um, change your relationship with fear, right? So
right.
that you can be the woman that you want to be.
Absolutely.
Oh, how beautiful. Oh. I mean, just this limited conversation, right? You talked about how you had limiting beliefs and how, you had episodes of depression and just having to overcome all these things, but then peeling the layer of going, oh, wait a minute, really, all these excuses, all these beliefs or these thoughts that I have was really fear. And then you
Right.
uncover this beautiful survivor and thriver,
Yes.
right? It's like you've been a detective your whole life only to
Mhm.
discover who you really are.
Yes. Absolutely.
Oh, I so
Well, I'm
love
having
it.
a lot of ahas as we're here.
Yes, yes, I hope so. I think this is so important that we as women, right, we as moms have these conversations and
Right.
say, oh, I thought that too, or I did that too. And it's normal. It's not bad. It's not wrong. It's not right. And that I'm here. I persisted. I survived. I thrived. I am me. And that's wonderful, right? Instead of sitting by ourselves, worried and stressed out that we're not doing enough, that we're not there enough, that we're not present enough, that, oh, if only I could be like so and so, then I'll be the perfect mom, right?
Exactly.
It's like, oh my God, been there,
Comparison.
done that. That's horrible. It's a horrible, horrible trap. There's so much pressure in that, that instead to just say, oh, I'm not perfect, but I'm here.
Yeah.
I don't know everything, but I can get curious and find out.
And I don't want to know everything all at once anyway.
That's true.
I like learning a little bit at a time.
Very, very true. So with that, what would you say is the number one life lesson you would share with a new mom?
I would tell her, be kind to yourself. Um, know that you're always doing your very best. Love your child. Um, hug them often, kiss them often. And just know that even if you don't feel like you're getting everything right, you actually are. You actually are. Because as a new mother, a first time mother, um, gosh, that's pretty scary. You've never done this before. You've seen other people do this. You've seen your mom and or whatever women are in your life, aunts, grandmothers, friends, as first time mothers. And um, of course, there'll always be some women that you see as, the super mom and compare yourself to, but no comparisons. Just be yourself. And because you were chosen for your child. You were chosen for your child. And whether it's a biological child, an adopted child, a stepchild. So I'm branching out into that because I don't know, it's just coming to me.
Right.
Because even for a stepchild, you would be kind of a first time parent by proxy for that child. So just know that you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. And everything that you do with love is the right way.
Beautiful. Oh, thank you. That's such beautiful advice. So as we close, Colleen, what brings you joy?
Well, seeing my daughter smile and I guess the joy that I have is knowing that she's open to hearing things that I tell her, that she's not closed off from me just because she's out of the house, that I can still nurture her. That brings me a lot of joy. And the other thing that brings me a tremendous amount of joy is just connecting with people and having conversations. And it's so important to do that. It's so important to just smile at someone or say hello or start a conversation. And you never know how you're changing their day. And just seeing a person smile after you connect with them, that brings me tremendous joy.
Well, thank you so much, Colleen, for sharing your story with us today. And that will be all for Soul Speak.